You made it. Oh my gosh, this is fantastic. You are in the Freedom Through Safety Masterclass. You've made the investment. Oh, and this is awesome. So let me just give you a little idea of like what we have going. I mean, so this class that you're in right now, it's going to be 56 days. You might be thinking that's 8 weeks and like, oh my gosh, that's so much to learn. Oh my gosh, how am I going to get through? No. This is a done for you energy work. So each day, it'll probably be 5-10 minutes, some a little bit longer, but you're going to actually kick off the warp gates like you did in the challenge. You're going to be kicking off the warp gates and getting that massive change. That 4 to 12 hours, depending if you slow it down, it might be a little bit longer, but still your unconscious mind doing massive amounts of energy work to really peel back all the stuff that was put on top of you initially, just so you can be safe, right? And once that gets pulled away, you start opening up to a life that anything is possible, right? And all you need to do, I mean, it is made to be so simple, because you want to wake up to just how powerful you are. To like, it's amazing when you start running it and realizing, wait a second, I'm not consciously doing this. There is a more to me that's doing it. And when you start waking up to that, you start pulling in that more than what you think is you gifts. And that's the most important thing. And you're going to unleash those chains that say it's not safe to do, because that's one thing that's going to stop you. Like, well, I'm not even going to go look. That's the first way that we get stopped. They're like, well, I'm not going to look, see if I'm magical. This is going to remove that, to where not only are you going to be able and feel safe to look that you're magical, you're going to have it revealed to you. So that's this course, the master course that you're in. You also got 4 bonuses that are extremely powerful, like super duper powerful. They're all warp gated. So each one takes about a week. But once again, we're talking about 5 minutes to kick off the warp gates. And it's going to direct you on what you can do it on, right? And it's just like, I kind of liken it to like, you know, it's like an unlimited pass to an amusement park. You don't think like, oh man, I got 56 days of amusement park. It's like, no, you're like, yes, right? It's not something to learn. This isn't like, oh, you got to learn all these courses. You got 4 bonuses. That's 4 more things to learn. No. It's done for you energy work that happens on day 1. It's another warp gate that takes it deeper. Like one of them is in trauma, on energetic trauma, not to be like confused with medical stuff, and we're not making medical claims. I've had amazing things change in my 3D reality from that, physical, health-wise, but spiritually there's not a one-to-one. So you can't say like, oh, if you do this, then you're going to cure these symptoms and stuff like that. So that's not medically viable. Don't use this for that. If you thought you were going to get that, we'll definitely give you your money back. Not a problem. But trust me, there's always a spiritual cause. There's always a spiritual reason. There's always something in the 5D that's driving what's happening in the 3D. You are way more powerful. And sometimes you just got 3D symptoms because that's what you pay attention to. And then it starts the deeper inquiry of like, well, what's causing that? So you can have multiple spiritual things that are causing the same 3D symptom, but you still can have massive transformation, either the 3D symptom or how you perceive and are affected by it, to where it's not stopping you, it's not an issue, and actually can turn into a gift that it moves forward. All that's possible when you start going into the spiritual causes. So like example, one of the bonuses is trauma, like embracing trauma and how you pull that all out through your, you know, your childhood, all that. And it just, because trauma can cause such distortions and tweaks and messes, and it helps pull that out. And it gives you a really good framework, gives you a warp gate, 7 days, just each one. And you can do it multiple times, and it pulls that out to where you get so much freedom. And it was my entry point to building warp gates. Is the first thing I pulled off. It was kind of like, you pull off trauma, it's like take 2 steps forward, but if you don't have the safety, you take 1 step back, because it's kind of like you now can do more, but you still haven't dealt with the safety. That's why we pushing the freedom through safety, where you get the safety handled. You don't have that step back. So now you start doing the trauma work. It's just like 2 steps forward, 2 steps forward, 2 steps forward, 2 steps forward. And it takes out so much torment. Like I was in torment all the time. It removed it. Like, oh my gosh, the peace that I have is unbelievable. And that's just one of the bonuses. The next one, there's a shielding course, because there's a lot going on here, more than meets the eye. And there are things that come at you, whether they're sent from other people or sent from dark forces, that having a shield up helps. And it helps you kind of navigate that, to where it gives you a break, to all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I didn't know something was attacking me, but man, I put the shield up, I feel way better. Shield goes down, I feel something coming, and that allows you to direct as what might be causing that. So not only do you get relief, you now can proactively, do stuff about it, which jumps into the aura and chakra clearing. Another warp gate, just get to massively clear out your aura, clear out your chakra, which is ascension technology in and of itself. But because we are doing warp gates and doing energy in your unconscious mind at such a fast pace, it's nice to have a turbo way to clear that out, because you're releasing and the aura kind of catches it for a bit to look at. And we can be like, okay, clear it out, go to, right? And you just get that jump forward, not to mention just stuff that's hanging around there as part of your ascension path. The more you clear it, the faster you start ascending, the more things just start working out, and the clearer your path goes. Because I'm a big fan, but not a big fan like of The Secret and stuff like, oh, your thoughts are things and stuff like that. Yes and no. I kind of say no, more no, unless you're on your right path. Unless you're here doing what you're supposed to do, then all of a sudden, when you get on your path, your thoughts, oh my gosh, your things, the way in which you control yourself to like really be enthusiastic about your path, yeah, things open up like crazy. So it's not like just, oh yeah, whatever you want, think about, it's gonna happen. No, not really. But when you're on your path, which is just gonna be more better and awesome anyway, it's not like it's a negative of like, oh, I didn't get that thing, because that thing is not even close to the awesome that you're gonna get. So aura and chakra bonus helps with that. And then we also have one on clearing entities and ghosts, because they're there. They're out there. It's another one that's kind of like, they like get on you and they get in your field, and it's just like a whole nother piece that like kind of doesn't help you go forward. It like can make things challenge. And like anyone, like, so just use your intuition of like, what first one you want to jump into. I would say at least do this safety week first. Get the core, safe to be safe, what you got in the challenge. So if you haven't done the challenge yet, you probably did. That's why you got here. But if you haven't done the challenge, it's included. Make sure you do the challenge first, because it lays so much foundation that you definitely need, right? And then do the second week, which is the first week of this master course, which is safe to feel safe, where you get the benefit of like consciously feeling safe and kind of opening that up, or realizing, wow, I didn't notice how much I didn't feel safe. But then you can work on it, right? And this starts unwinding all that and unwinding all the commitments that you have to be that way, as opposed to what source put in you for you to be, right? So that's fantastic. So you got those 4 bonuses, and you got this course, the safety course, and you just do your best to do every day. It's only like 5 minutes, some maybe 10, but it's kicking off 4 to 12 hours of energy work. And if that was just like $100 per hour, which would be inexpensive, that's $400 to $1,200 of energy work per day that you get to kick off for free. That's not free because you have to pay for this course, but each day you get to kick it off, and you get the benefit of that. And it's more than $400 to $1,200, because if you went to somebody and you gave them $100 for an hour of energy work, which would be a great deal, you'd be hoping to get more than $100 back. You want to increase on your money. You want something more. So you're going to get more than 4 to 12 hours, or whatever that dollar amount is, by doing it each day. So don't miss a day, because it's going to exponentially push your life forward, because you're going so fast. So hopefully I've encouraged you. I've also included a link to a story about that I'm putting on YouTube, with just how powerful you really are, and hopefully it'll help drive some of these pieces in to realize to show up, because the magic is kicking off the warp gates. It's not so much the course content, it's you showing up, kicking off the warp gate, and letting your unconscious start do the magic that it can do, and start waking you up to the gifts that you have. Because I want to see what they are. I want to know what your gifts are. I want to be blessed by your gifts, because you're going to be bringing back awesome stuff, because that's why you're here. And you're part of like this vanguard of people that are going to bring back awesome gifts for a whole nother wave of people. And I want to leave with this one analogy. And it's kind of a little bit like I talked about, like The Secret, and like moving forward, and thoughts are things. And it's kind of like thinking like, oh, I want to be the moon. I want to be the moon. It's amazing. It's huge. It's beautiful. But I'm saying, if you're here, you're not the moon. You're more like the sun. A being, a light, the sun. Now the moon is awesome, but it's reflecting the light of the sun. Now the moon is very pivotal for our planet, for Earth, right? And it does control tides. It's like does a lot of stuff, and it's kind of perfectly placed and the perfect size. It's kind of like magical that happened. It just happened. But it's just the moon. And you could remove the moon and life might sustain here. But you can't remove the sun. You could never remove the sun, because if you move the sun or remove the sun, the entire our entire solar system dies. All the planets would spin off, go crazy. Earth's got no chance. If it just dimmed down a bit, we'd all freeze. I mean, you can't change the sun. And I want you to see you as that, as a being of light. You're critical. You're important. You're here for a reason. And you're like the sun. And you're going to nurture and fill up so many people. So do the course. You're here. You got it. You got the tools. Each day, kick it off in your unconscious. Be surprised. Only thing you really need to do is pay attention to the changes that are happening, and notice when you get an inspiration and be like, okay, I got that inspiration. Can you do it? I mean, because you might get an inspiration of like something that you couldn't do in the past, and you're like, oh, it still feels tormenting. But that's okay, because that's going to change. Or you get an inspiration and you might just check of like, because you might be used to like, oh, I get the inspiration, I ignore it. But check of like, wait a second, am I scared to do it? And if you're not, or if it just takes a little bit of oomph to do it, but it's not overwhelming and terrifying, do it. It's really important. That means you've been freed. The chain has been released. The door to the prison has been opened. You still have to walk out. You still have to walk out. So follow those inspirations. When that inspiration comes in, you realize you're not terrified about it anymore. Follow it. And it's going to take you on the most amazing journey, because it's coming from you. It's coming from a more powerful part of you. And this is what this course is to awaken, that more powerful part of you. It's just taking away the stuff that's not supposed to be there. It's not putting in stuff. It doesn't need to, because you're a sun. You got all the good stuff already there. And it's just about igniting that, waking that up to where you take away the bad and you start noticing what you start doing, what you're inspired to do. And you start following that. And it's going to create that chain reaction. Your life's going to go skyrocketing. It'll take you on a whole new adventure. And you start waking up to just how powerful you are. That's what the course is here for. So all you need to do, just watch the videos each day, 5 to 10 minutes. They'll kick off the warp gates. It's going to be doing energy work, and it's going to be a breeze. And you slow it down if it gets intense, but you're going to start changing so naturally. And your life's going to start filling up. You're going to start getting busy. You're going to start following these intuitions. Life's going to start filling up. But make sure you realize this is helping trigger all that. This is helping clear out all that stuff you don't need. So don't forget about the work you're doing here and how powerful it is and how important. So your life starts taking off. Just make sure you make 5 to 10 minutes to keep that progress going forward. And doing the other 4 bonus courses, because they're so big. They're super going to help when you start bumping up on stuff. You intuitively pick the one that you think you might be bumping up against. Start running that, run through the 7 days, and then you can individually do that. And you're going to be surprised at what that creates. Like, you're going to have some big realizations of like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was there. I didn't know that was there. I didn't know that was happening. But now you'll have tools, you'll have agency to address it. So it's not going to be fearful. It's going to be like, ooh, I could see where that got in the way. Not anymore. Not anymore. So just leave it that you are amazingly powerful. I'm going to make a link to another video that kind of tells that in story form. Hopefully it helps you to remember, like when you're going through this process. But just remember, there's so much more to you. You're here to show up each day. Super simple. It's going to change your life. Until we talk again, have a blessed day or a blessed night.